Marriage was once seen as the peak of a man's life, the crown jewel of adulthood, the sign that he had made it. But for many men today, it's the beginning of the slow transformation from a powerful, free, ambitious lion into a tired, overworked donkey. The man who once dreamed of adventures, freedom, and building an empire often finds himself reduced to carrying endless burdens that don't even feel like his own. And the irony? He volunteered for it with a smile at the altar. The transformation happens slowly. At first, marriage feels like teamwork. We're in this together. But little by little, the roles shift. The man becomes the workhorse, the one who carries the bills, the responsibilities, the stress, the sleepless nights. And the woman? Often she morphs into the one holding the reins. The donkey doesn't choose where to go, he just obeys, he just carries. Men underestimate how quickly their freedom evaporates after marriage. The hobbies, the passions, the brotherhoods, and even the silence that once gave them peace are replaced with constant demands. Fix this, buy that, go here, pay this. And like a loyal donkey, he nods and moves forward. Not because he loves the burden, but because he fears what happens if he doesn't carry it. The tragedy is that many men don't even notice it happening until years have passed. One day, he looks in the mirror and realizes the confident, adventurous man he used to be is gone. In his place stands a tired worker who spends his life paying for everyone else's happiness. His own joy has been traded for stability, his freedom for responsibility. And let's be honest, society applauds this donkey version of a man. Good husband, great provider, such a responsible man. But behind closed doors, his spirit is crushed. He's no longer admired for who he is, but only for what he can give. He's no longer respected as a leader, but treated as a beast of burden. The cruel joke is that many women encourage this transformation without ever admitting it. At the start, she praises his masculinity, his strength, his ambition. But after marriage, she subtly nudges him into submission. Why are you always working on that? We don't need that. Spend more time here. We need a bigger house, a better car, more security. Translation: stop being the man you want to be and become the donkey I need you to be. And most men, eager to please, do it. They think they're proving love by sacrificing themselves. But what they're really proving is that they're willing to trade their masculine fire for a life of servitude. And here's the painful truth. A woman doesn't even respect a man who becomes her donkey. She may use him, she may depend on him, but respect? Gone. Desire? Dead. The donkey man lives in silent misery. He's stuck in the cycle of work, provide, repeat. He dares not complain because he fears being labeled selfish or immature. And so he carries until his back breaks, his dreams fade, and his life becomes nothing more than hauling bags of responsibility that no one ever thanks him for. This is why so many married men look older, sadder, and more defeated than their single counterparts. The lion's mane is gone. All that's left is the worn-out look of a beast who has spent his life walking in circles. He doesn't roar anymore, he brays. But here's the irony. Men weren't created to be donkeys. They were created to lead, to build, to conquer, to explore. The male spirit was never designed to be chained. That's why so many men in unhappy marriages feel suffocated. It's not natural for a lion to live in a harness. It's not natural for a king to live as a mule. The question every man must ask is this: do you want to be respected or do you want to be used? Because marriage in its modern form often pushes men into the role of the donkey. It's not about love, it's about utility. She doesn't love you for who you are, but for how much you can carry. And when the donkey finally collapses, often he's replaced. Divorce papers filed, assets divided, years of carrying gone in a flash, and the same woman who once told him she'd love him forever walks away to find another beast of burden. That's the cold reality. Some men wake up too late. They only realize they've been treated like donkeys after decades have been wasted. But the wise man sees it early. He sees the reins being placed on his neck, and he refuses to carry. He refuses to be broken down. He refuses to give up his lionhood. This doesn't mean a man can't love. It doesn't mean he can't commit. But it does mean he must never trade his masculine fire for servitude. The moment he becomes a donkey is the moment he loses both respect and desire. A woman may complain when he resists, but deep down she admires the man who refuses to be tamed. The strongest men set boundaries. They provide, yes, but not at the expense of their soul. They love, yes, but not at the expense of their freedom. They understand that the masculine essence must remain untamed, unbroken, and unapologetically alive. Because here's the bitter truth. Once you let marriage turn you into a donkey, you will never feel like a man again. You'll laugh less, dream less, and live less. You'll be alive, but not truly living. And that's the biggest tragedy of all. So men, before you step into the trap, ask yourself, am I walking into marriage as a lion, or am I volunteering to become a donkey? Because one path leads to respect and admiration, and the other leads to a lifetime of silent misery. Women don't fall in love with donkeys. They tolerate them, they use them, they may depend on them, but they don't dream about them at night. They dream about lions. And if you want to be truly loved, you must remain the lion, not the beast of burden. Most men don't realize they're slowly being transformed into donkeys until it's far too late. At first, everything looks normal: love, romance, laughter, the dream of a family. But the moment a man steps into marriage, invisible weights start piling on his back. Bills, expectations, obligations, sacrifices. Suddenly, the man who once felt like the driver of his own life is now just the cart puller. And the worst part, he's pulling a cart that isn't even filled with his dreams, it's filled with hers. The donkey life doesn't hit overnight, it creeps in. First, she says, don't hang out with your friends too much. Then, stop spending money on that hobby. Later, we need a bigger house, a better car, more security. Each demand is small, reasonable, innocent, but together, they build a mountain on the man's back. And like a good husband, he carries it. Because that's what a donkey does. It doesn't complain, it just obeys. And here's the brutal truth. The more he carries, the less she respects him. A man thinks that endless sacrifice will make her love him more, but to her it only makes him look weaker. The very thing he believes will secure her loyalty, the burdens he accepts, is the very thing that kills her attraction. She doesn't want a donkey, she wants a lion. But when he bends his back too often, she sees him as nothing more than a beast of burden. You'll notice how men in long marriages move differently. Their shoulders slump. Their eyes lose their fire. Their voices sound tired. Compare them to single men chasing dreams, and you'll see the difference immediately. One is a king planning his kingdom. The other is a donkey just waiting for the next load. That's why so many men look older than their age after years of marriage. The donkey life wears them down faster than time itself. And society? Society claps for the donkey. He's such a great husband, such a good provider. But no one asks if he's happy. No one asks if he's free. No one asks if he still feels like a man, because his role isn't to feel alive anymore. It's to carry, to provide, to endure. That's the donkey's destiny. The dangerous part is how men lie to themselves while carrying this burden. They say, this is just what a man does. They say, sacrifice is love. They say, one day she'll appreciate me. But deep down, they feel it. The leash around their neck, the reins pulling them in directions they don't want to go. And every day, their roar gets quieter until all that's left is silence. Some men try to fight back years later. They suddenly want freedom, hobbies, excitement again. But by then, it's too late. The donkey role has been cemented. The woman doesn't see him as a man anymore. She sees him as the furniture of the house, a piece of utility. And when a woman stops seeing you as a man, the marriage is already dead. The tragedy is that women don't respect donkeys, even though they push men into becoming them. It's like training a wild horse into a mule. You've made it useful, but you've killed its spirit. And once the spirit is gone, so is the attraction. That's why so many married men complain that their wives aren't intimate anymore. She doesn't want the donkey. She misses the lion she first met, the one who had fire in his eyes. Here's the worst part. When the donkey finally collapses, she doesn't revive him. She replaces him. Divorce papers, half of his wealth gone, years of sacrifice erased, and while he limps away broken, she looks for the next man with fire in his soul. Not another donkey, but another lion, one she can slowly tame again. The cycle continues. But this doesn't have to be every man's story. The truth is, men must guard their freedom like a treasure. A man must protect his roar at all costs. He can love, yes. He can commit, yes. But he must never surrender his spirit. The moment he stops leading and starts carrying, the transformation begins. The lion is dying and the donkey is being born. The key is setting boundaries early. A strong man says no. He refuses to give up his passions, his vision, his mission. He provides, but not at the expense of his soul. He loves, but not at the expense of his freedom. He stays wild enough that she never forgets he's a lion, and she respects him for it, even if she won't admit it. Because at the end of the day, men were not born to be beasts of burden. Men were born to conquer, to create, to lead. And any man who forgets this will live a quiet, defeated life, carrying someone else's dreams while his own rot away. Marriage can either turn you into a partner or a pack mule. It depends on how much of your masculinity you're willing to surrender. The sad truth is that most men surrender everything, and then wonder why their wives no longer look at them with admiration. If you want to avoid becoming the donkey, you must stay true to the lion inside you. Never give up the fire. Never let yourself be domesticated to the point of servitude. Never confuse sacrifice with slavery, because once the reins are on your neck, it's almost impossible to get them off. Men don't lose their strength overnight. They lose it through 1,000 small concessions, and every time they bend, they give up a piece of their roar. Until one day, they're not roaring at all. They're just braying, waiting for the next order. The solution is simple but not easy. Stop carrying everything. Carry what matters. Carry what aligns with your vision. But refuse to carry what crushes your spirit. A man who protects his fire will always be respected. A man who lets it be extinguished will always be used. The truth is, most men don't even realize they've turned into donkeys until years have gone by. They wake up one morning with back pain, a dead stare, and a question pounding in their chest. What happened to me? But here's the reality. You don't have to stay a beast of burden. You can break free, and it starts with one decision: to no longer live as someone else's mule. The first step is rediscovering your boundaries. A donkey has no boundaries. It goes where the rope pulls it. But a man draws lines in the sand. Start small. Say no to things that drain you. Watch how she reacts. A woman who truly loves you will respect your boundaries. A manipulative one will panic because her control is slipping. Second, you must reclaim your time. Stop letting her book every hour of your day. Create sacred time for yourself, whether it's the gym, building your craft, or just sitting in silence. This is how you rewire your mind from servant to sovereign. A man who owns his time owns his life. Third, stop apologizing for existing. Donkeys apologize because they fear the stick. Men stand tall because they know their worth. Next time you're tempted to say sorry for something trivial, replace it with silence, or better yet, with assertiveness. Women respect men who stand firm, not men who bow. Fourth, reconnect with your passions. Remember that thing you once loved: music, writing, fitness, creating, building. Bring it back. The donkey is trained to forget what it loves, but the lion reawakens when it chases what lights its soul. Passion is magnetic, and when you live with passion, she feels it or she fears it. Fifth, reclaim your physicality. When a man transforms his body, he transforms his mind. A donkey slouches under weight. A lion trains for battle. Go back to the gym. Eat clean. Sharpen your frame. Not for her approval, but for your own kingdom. Women feel the energy of a man who takes care of himself. Sixth, regain control of your money. If every cent you earn vanishes into obligations, you'll never feel like a man. Start stacking cash for yourself. Build an emergency fund. Create freedom. A donkey works for others. A man builds for himself. 7th, revive your social circle. Call your brothers. Reconnect with men who remind you of your strength. A donkey is isolated. A lion has a pride. Your masculinity will suffocate without male energy to sharpen it. 8th, embrace conflict. Stop running from her moods. If she gets upset, let her. If she complains, let her. You're not a donkey trying to keep the load balanced. You're a man who can handle storms. When you stop fearing her emotions, you break her leash. 9th, find your voice again. Speak up. Share your thoughts, even when they're unpopular. Say what you mean without trembling. You'll feel resistance at first, because she's used to the donkey's silence, but your voice will return. 10th, rediscover adventure. Book that trip, try that hobby, chase that challenge. Donkeys walk in circles, men blaze new trails. The more risk you take, the more alive you feel, and the more respect you command. 11th, rebuild your frame of respect. Stop chasing validation through chores, sacrifices, or constant proving. That's donkey behavior. Respect is earned through presence, strength, and self-mastery, not servitude. 12th, stop tolerating disrespect. The moment she mocks, belittles, or dismisses you, check it. Don't let it slide. If she laughs at you, look her in the eye and say, "Don't talk to me like that." A donkey takes insults. A lion checks them. 13th, remind yourself daily who you are. Write down your goals, your vision, your mission. Read them every morning. Donkeys forget their purpose. Men live by it. 14th, master your emotions. A donkey reacts to the whip. A man controls his state. Learn to breathe, to pause, to hold frame. When you don't flinch, she realizes you're no longer the obedient beast she created. 15th, stop begging for intimacy. Let her feel your absence. Let her chase your presence. Donkeys beg. Men walk away when their needs aren't met. Attraction isn't negotiated, it's earned. 16th, take risks outside the relationship. Build that business, make that investment, take that leap. Donkeys stay safe. Men take calculated risks that change their future. 17th, embrace solitude. Learn to be okay without her. The donkey is terrified of being untied from the cart. The lion thrives when walking alone. Solitude makes you strong. 18th, raise your standards. Stop accepting crumbs. If she can't meet you at your level, she's free to leave. The donkey clings out of fear. The man walks away out of principle. 19th, make her earn you. Flip the script. Instead of proving you're worthy of her, make her prove she's worthy of your kingdom. That shift alone separates lions from donkeys. 20th, remember this truth. A woman can only ride you if you let her. The leash, the saddle, the burden, it's all an illusion held in place by your submission. The day you refuse to be her donkey is the day you remember you were always a lion. Most men don't realize that women don't use chains and cages to control them. They use psychology. They don't need to force you into donkey mode, they just convince you it's your duty. They whisper words like, "Real men provide," "If you loved me, you'd do it," or "A husband's job is sacrifice." Suddenly, you're not even aware you're trapped. You think you're being noble while they slowly drain you. That's not love, that's conditioning. The deadliest manipulation is guilt. A woman will make you feel guilty for simply wanting peace, time, or freedom. You say you need space, and she says, "So you don't love me anymore." You say no to one request, and she cries about how much she does for you. Before you know it, you're apologizing for wanting the very basics of respect. That's not partnership, that's psychological warfare. Then comes shame. They know men fear being seen as less than, so they say things like, "Other men buy their wives this," or "A real man wouldn't complain." Shame keeps you in line. You don't want to look weak, so you overcompensate, working harder, spending more, and sacrificing your joy just to prove your worth. All while she watches you sink deeper into the mud. The most dangerous manipulation is the withdrawal of affection. Women weaponize intimacy because they know men crave it. They'll withhold touch, closeness, or warmth until you bend to their will. The donkey learns quickly, perform tricks, carry burdens, follow orders, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get a carrot at the end. This keeps men in a cycle of desperation and compliance. Another trick is comparison. She'll bring up her friend's husband or some fictional man on Instagram to make you feel inadequate. Look at what he bought her. He takes her on vacations. He doesn't complain. That's not random. It's a calculated way to erode your confidence so you'll break your back trying to match an illusion. Women also play the long game with subtle erosion. They don't turn you into a donkey overnight, they chip away at you. First, they test small boundaries. Then they stretch your tolerance. Eventually, you're carrying 10 times the weight you agreed to, but because it happens slowly, you don't even notice. That's how manipulation works. It's a slow boil, not a sudden fire. Then there's the martyr act. She'll act like she's the one suffering, even though you're the one sacrificing. She'll exaggerate her struggles, her exhaustion, her pain, so you'll feel obligated to do more. And the more you do, the less grateful she becomes. Because gratitude isn't the goal, control is. Another subtle manipulation is weaponizing emotions. Tears at the right moment, anger when you resist, silence when you push back. These are tools, not reactions. A man who doesn't understand this will think she's just emotional. But a sharp man realizes it's all strategy to keep him in donkey mode. One of the most dangerous manipulations is dependency. Some women will intentionally sabotage your independence so you can't walk away. They'll discourage you from saving money, pursuing goals, or building connections. Because a man with no resources and no network is trapped. Donkeys don't escape farms, neither do broke, isolated men. Then there's the future faking trap. She dangles promises of happiness. Once we have this house, once the kids grow up, once things calm down. But those days never come. It's just enough hope to keep you dragging the cart without noticing the years slipping away. Even your masculinity becomes a weapon against you. She'll say things like, if you were really strong, you'd handle this. Or, a man shouldn't complain about stress. This flips your nature against you, turning your pride into her leash. You keep proving yourself while she keeps tightening the rope. The scariest manipulation is when she convinces you that leaving would destroy everything. She'll paint a nightmare scenario. Kids broken, family ruined, finances destroyed, so you stay put. Fear of loss keeps donkeys tied to the post more than the rope itself. Another psychological trick is love bombing. When she senses you're slipping, she'll suddenly treat you well again. Compliments, affection, attention. It floods your brain, and you forget the years of weight you carried. Once you relax, the whip returns. It's a cycle men fall for again and again. The most sinister manipulation is gaslighting. She'll make you doubt your memory, your instincts, even your sanity. I never said that. You're imagining things, you're overreacting. The more you doubt yourself, the easier you are to control. Donkeys don't question the master, they question themselves. And then there's social manipulation. She'll turn family, friends, even society against you. Suddenly, if you stand up for yourself, you're selfish. If you want freedom, you're immature. If you set boundaries, you're controlling. She uses the herd to keep the donkey in line. Another deadly trap is the illusion of choice. She makes you think you're deciding, but all the options lead back to her outcome. It's like asking a donkey, do you want the heavy cart or the heavier one? Either way, you're still carrying the load. Another powerful move is controlling intimacy. Stop letting her weaponize affection. Instead, reverse it. Show her that closeness is earned through respect, not manipulation. If she withholds, you don't chase. If she offers, you don't worship. You set the standard, not her. Learn the power of detachment. You must be willing to walk away at any moment. The donkey fears losing its barn. The stallion knows the field is wide open. The man who is not afraid to lose her becomes the man she cannot control. That's true freedom. Focus on self-investment. Every time you pour into yourself, gym, skills, knowledge, wealth, you shrink her power over you. The stronger you become independently, the weaker her manipulations feel. Donkeys depend on masters, stallions depend on themselves. Another tactic, call out the manipulation directly. When she tries to guilt you, say, that's guilt tripping and it won't work. When she gaslights, say, I remember exactly what was said. This exposes the trick in real time, leaving her scrambling. Manipulation hates the spotlight. Don't reward bad behavior. If she throws a tantrum and you give in, you train her to use tantrums. If she sulks and you comfort her, you train her to sulk. Reverse it. Reward peace, respect, and honesty. The donkey obeys the whip. The stallion only responds to fair treatment. Take back control of your time. Stop giving away hours to drama and emotional games. Use that time to grow, create, and live. When your schedule is full of purpose, you don't have room for manipulation. A donkey waits for commands. A stallion runs toward his destiny. Lastly, understand that freedom is a mindset. The moment you stop believing you're trapped, you're free. Donkeys stay tied because they think they can't break the rope, even when they can. Men stay trapped in manipulation because they think they need her approval, even when they don't. The truth, you're stronger than you realize. And when you finally live this way, calm, strong, untouchable, you'll notice something amazing. The same women who once tried to manipulate you will suddenly admire you, because deep down, even manipulators respect the man they cannot control.